Hey guys, how's it going? Value Venture Investing here today. So today I'm going to do a quick video on two stories that have come out recently. One that just came out basically right now, Tesla's record numbers, and also one about Jony Ives leaving Apple. This was news that was a couple days ago and I've given a little bit of thought. So let's start out with Tesla. Okay, taking a look at Tesla after hours about recording this. We're up about 7%, so the stock has really been on quite a tear. As I told you guys before, I added to my position at 180, and I detailed my reasons for that. You can watch my last video. So if we take into account this after hours, if it translates into tomorrow, you know, I could be up almost 33%-ish on my newest position on Tesla. So I'm pretty happy about that. So the reason that we see the stock up so much, it's not a surprise to people that were really looking into the numbers, but it was a beat in terms of the estimates of deliveries that Wall Street was expecting. So Q2, we've seen 95,200 deliveries, and that's an all-time record for Tesla. Specifically, what people are looking at quite often is the Model 3, of course, and that's 77,550. So those are some great numbers, guys. Let's take a look at an article from Bloomberg right here. As you can see, we've got a chart here from 2008 Q1, and we can just see the growth. I mean, it's really starting to impress me what Tesla's able to do, what they're able to deliver. I mean, we're so close to 100,000 units, you know, in a quarter. That's crazy. So it says here, Tesla soared in late trading after the electric car maker set a record for quarterly vehicle deliveries, helped by U.S. consumers rushing to buy Model 3 sedans before a federal tax credit shrank in half. Now, I don't know. Is that, you know, is that part of it? I think we've seen this already translate. You know, the tax credit has been going down and it really hasn't had any effect on demand. I'm starting to believe more and more that electric vehicles are the future. But let's continue on the article here. The electric car maker handed over 95,200 vehicles to consumers in the 3 months that ended in June, exceeding the previous best mark set in the last quarter of 2018. Tesla's delivery count easily beat analysts' average estimates for about 87,700 units. So the article goes on there. You guys can read the rest of it. Some more of the takeaways from that is that Tesla's basically saying this is not going to be a one-time blip, that this is something that's going to continue. And of course, we saw that Elon was hinting to this before, and these leaked emails, whether or not they were actually leaked or not, or that he sent them out or something, whatever, right? That they were going to be hinting that this was going to be a record quarter or close to it, but looks like it's going to be a record quarter, so that's why we're seeing the stock respond in the way that it is. So some great news. I'm going to be looking forward to the actual financials that come out in quarter two. But as of how things are going right now, I think I'm going to continue to hold on to my position because, like I said in my last video, we're going to see the pickup truck event probably late sometime this summer, and we see other things coming out in the future as well. So the other, you know, event that really was something that was kind of shocking to me at first was Jony Ives leaving Apple. Now, if you take a look at the stock here, it actually didn't really respond the last couple days. I mean, I think it was down a little bit after hours, but now we're actually seeing it close above 200. You know, it's over 202-ish today after hours. And so obviously the market doesn't think that it's a huge deal. Now, if you weren't aware, Jony Ives, you know, he's the chief design officer at Apple. He's not actually an executive, but he reported directly to Tim Cook. Been there for 20, I think almost 30 years. He's been the main guy for, you know, the iPod, the iPhone, the iPad, just phenomenal products. And now we're seeing the watch, the new Macs that came out. And we're going to see his legacy go forward probably for a couple of years, because Apple's always, you know, they're always looking out to the future, and they always have their designs laid out ahead of time. So it's not the end of the world right now. But he's going to be going out and he's going to be doing his own business, starting his own company, I believe. I can't quite remember the name of it. But it's basically going to be contracting out to other companies, one of which is going to be Apple. So intuitively, you might think this is kind of like a bad idea, like this is, or something bad for Apple. And the media kind of took this approach. There was an article by the New York Times, I believe it was, basically citing that it was that Jony I was mad that Tim Cook didn't like design as much as Steve Jobs. And I find this article really hard to believe, because I couldn't see Tim Cook being like, I don't want you to design things great like you used to for Tim Cook. For Steve Jobs, it just didn't really make any sense to me. And I actually was very impressed that Tim Cook actually responded. I think it was an NBC reporter who reached out, and he responded, and we can take a look here at his response to that article. So Tim Cook said, "Hey Dylan," this was the guy who actually had reached out to him, "hope you are well. The story is absurd. A lot of the reporting and certain the conclusions just don't match with the reality. At a base level, it shows a lack of understanding about how the design team works at Apple, or how the design team works and how Apple works, rather. It distorts relationships, decisions, and events to the point that we just don't recognize the company it claims to describe. The design team is phenomenally talented. As Jony has said, they're stronger than ever, and I have complete confidence that they will thrive under Jeff, Evans, and Alan's leadership. We know the truth, and we know the incredible things they're capable of doing. The projects they're working on will blow you away. Best, Tim." Of course, sent from my iPhone. So I think he really hit the nail on the head. The big thing here is there's such an established team already. I don't think it's the best thing that he's leaving, but the thing you got to keep in mind about this industry now, and I've been thinking about this for a while, is that it's like a super mature industry. It used to be the fact that Apple kind of almost had this, they did have a massive competitive advantage in terms of design. They still design amazingly, but I mean, the competitors have really caught up a lot. If you were to look at, like, say, a Samsung phone or an Android phone years and years and years ago, it looked like crap. It was plastic, all that kind of stuff. Now they actually have some nice things. So I've been saying this in a lot of my videos to you guys. I've been saying it's not so much about the device anymore. People go, "Oh, Apple can't, innovate anymore." And they were saying this when Jony Ives was there, of course. Apple can't innovate anymore because they, all their design looks, their phones look the same. We've kind of got to a point where, like, how much more can we really do? I mean, we're basically full screens on the front. We are going to see new things happen, but I mean, these things take time, right? So there's a lot of competitors that are very close in terms of the design. So it's a very mature industry. So to say that one designer is basically going to, captivate, the market for one company, I don't see that whatsoever. The big thing too is that they're going to be consulting with Jony and the new company. They're not going to be replacing him, so I think it's more of something like it's just a new location. He's going to be working closely with Apple anyway, and he was saying that it seems like the right time, it's the right transition now, and I tend to agree with him because, like I said, we have such a strong team in place. Do you need him there, all the time in a mature market like this? There's still going to be amazing design, but we're in a very mature market in terms of these types of things, right? So at the end of the day, does it suck? Yeah, it sucks. But I really think, depending on how closely Apple works with them, and I think they will keep them close, it's not going to be the end of the world, and the stock tends to agree with me. I think these things tend to be overblown for sure, and maybe investors have learned from last time when Steve Jobs passed away. I mean, that was the end of the world, and what has happened since then? Apple's only become more profitable, taken more market share, and the stock prices only went up. And that was a huge guy. That was like this, legendary, of course, Steve Jobs, right? So those are my thoughts on it. Initially, I was kind of a little bit unhappy about it, I guess you could say, and thinking, oh, what does this mean? But after sitting back, really thinking about it, and realizing how close he's going to continue to work with Apple, and the transition that I've just been speaking to you guys about, Apple going to more of a services company, we've seen that they've perfected. They basically perfected so many of their products. Like, look at this, the iPad. I just bought this not too long ago, the 12.9 inch. I didn't even, it's basically the perfect device. I didn't think I really wanted it before I got it, and the design, it's incredible, right? So I think there's still an extremely bright future for Apple in terms of design. I would love to know what you guys think, though. Leave a comment down below what you think. If you think it's a huge deal, or if you think this is a mature industry where contracting out design to somebody who was close in the company is big deal. Also, leave your thoughts on Tesla's numbers. Always love to hear what you guys think. And that's going to be it for today, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.